everyone. My name is Tasneem. I'm the senior manager at 98 Percentile in the HR department. And today we did a wonderful drive with XLR. It was amazing right from the very beginning, from the very first day when I got in touch with them till today. I think it was an extremely smooth journey with them. There were multiple follow-ups done by the representatives in order to check that we would be, what time would be coming, how many people would be coming, what vehicle we would get. To that extent, they were so precise in giving all the information to us. It was extremely great to get associated with them and have a drive at XLR campus. So we are very, very happy that we got a chance to do this. Now, coming to the students, what XLR had, I think they were extremely enthusiastic. They were well prepared. They were aware of what they are coming for. I think there was some back-end preparation which they did that was commendable. They also were very confident and they were open to any kind of thing we were asking them to do. That was I think the best part. Now, I really hope we have a very, very fruitful association with each one of them and XLR in future. We are really looking forward to have many more drives like this.
Hi everyone, my name is Prachi Sharma and I'm the Senior Project Manager for IT Department at 90th Percentile. So today we were here for this IT Bootcamp, right, this technical drive and at XLR. So it was a great experience and I would feel that the students, they are the freshers, right, but it doesn't seem like that. So if I talk about their technical and cognitive ability, they all seems pretty good in that and that's what I felt. And I guess they have been taught pretty well at XLR, so that's how they have performed good in their aptitude and the technical tests. So I wish them all the best and it was a very great experience over here.
Hi, this is Patan, Technology Consulting Manager from 98th Percentile. We visited XLR for the campus placement drive and it went very well today. Miss Ambika, Miss Pragati, everyone received us greatly here and we had a lot of enjoyable time here. The students even had great experience with us. They were interactive, they had good aptitude and all the technological skills they showed. I think they were all well and we really appreciate their time that they spared to us and I think we will be doing a great job. We are expecting a lot of people to be hired from them. Let's see. it was a great experience altogether.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
From entering into the cyber tower to exiting out of this tower, the XLR team has been received me with such a care and pleasure.
I am the part of this XLR since 4 months. From the third month itself, they have conducted the placement sessions from the third month itself, and this is the fourth month, and this is the 98th percentile is one of the placement drive I have attended so far, and attending to this drive is such a good experience for me. All the HRs and the team made us feel very comfortable and confident.
XLR helped me a lot, and I experienced a lot of things today. So I'm really hope to be placed in that company. I'm confident about that. Thank you.
This was my first association with XLR. I had got a call from Miss Shubha, and we fixed a drive here. Today when we came here, I was not expecting much, but the hospitality was too good. Staff is quite cooperative, and it's like a happy-go-lucky kind of a environment here when it comes to XLR people. When it comes to candidates, yeah, we have got few candidates, and they are all agreeing to all our terms and conditions, and I hope they join the organization and work for us, and I'm expecting long-term association with XLR people, with more recruitments or more collaborations with them.
XLR has been a good partner for us because we found some of the candidates were excellent, and we wanted people with good business experience, not only just the Java or whatever full stack development or whatever they were being trained on. They were also people with a good background knowledge, and whom we have really shortlisted, and we assume that they are going to make a good career in BusyBrains.
XLR arranged our placements for the BusyBrains company. I felt good. I hope that it will be positive for us and change our lives in IT sector. So thank you, XLR.
Hi, my name is Revant. I joined XLR's course of data analytics. While the course was going through, the faculty were very good. They were guiding us really well, and they were providing in-depth insights of the industry. We were taught the latest things. We were taught what the industry needs, and after that, post completion of my course, we were going through a live project where we were facing real-time scenarios, and we were encountering all those scenarios which we would be encountering in a job. We completed the project, and we got through a certification which stated that we got a data analytics certification from XLR, and after that we were placed in mock interviews, and they also gave us how the interviews are and how tough they are. The interviews were really good. And post completion of the mock interview, they started placement drives. Today is my first placement drive in a company called Busy Brain. I really want to thank XLR for providing me this opportunity, and I'm really hoping to see much more opportunities in the future. Thank you, XLR.
When I came into XLR, the learning experience was very good. Today there was the interview session from Busy Brains company. The interview session went extremely well. I got to learn many new things. Thank you, XLR.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope all are doing good. So we'll move to the session. So today we have like our trainer Bala. Bala, yeah, you can take up the class. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Yep. So good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone are doing great. Last 2 days, we have tried to come up and discuss about various modules on cloud, the compute services, and the networking services. So today we're gonna discuss about S3. Okay. So everyone are able to see the PPT, right? Yes. Is the PPT visible? Okay. So today we're gonna understand the various aspects of the storage module, how the storage being provided within the cloud environment. Okay, so let's get started. So in this module, we'll try to understand the simplest architecture and how to use Amazon S3, storing data in Amazon S3, moving to and data from Amazon S3, and choosing regions for your architecture. Okay, so these are the main modules usually. So we'll try to see how it is going to work. So by the definition, if you see, S3 is nothing but a storage service. Okay, with the name itself S3, that is nothing but a full form is simple storage service. And if you see, it's an object-based storage service. That means we'll try to use a different storages, right? Like Google Drive, iCloud, and other third-party data, TerraCloud, something, right? So we'll try to store the data, and whatever the data we try to store, the images, documents, like structured data or unstructured data, we try to store in the cloud. That you can try to modify, access, and share, and give permissions to whom to give an access to that URLs, right? So in the similar way, S3 is also one such kind of a service which provides an option for us to store structured and unstructured data. Structured and unstructured data. Okay, so we'll try to see how it is going to work. Okay, so let's try to see how it is going to work. What is Amazon S3 storage service? It's an object-based storage service. It's an object-based storage service. That means whatever the data we are trying to store inside, that will be stored in the form of objects. We are calling them the each file that we store is nothing but an object. Okay. So each file, that means what we upload, right? That we are trying to store, like what kind of a data? It can be any sort of a data. It can be file, it can be image, it can be document, it can be a code, it can be a videos, or any sort of a data. We can try to store inside the S3. Okay, it's a cloud-based storage that is being offered by AWS. Okay, so it will try to provide more scalability and security. That's why it is one kind of a famous service. So basically, it allows the users to store and retrieve any amount of data at any point from anywhere in the web. So that means over the internet, we can try to have an access to this particular storage and trying to access, modify, and retrieve it. So basically, it facilitates such as extremely high availability. So it's have a different features in terms of providing extremely high availability and high security and simple connection. That means you can integrate this storage service to different various AWS services. All right. So it can store massive unlimited amount of unstructured data. So the data we are trying to store inside the folders of this particular storage, that is nothing but a bucket. Object is nothing but a file, the files we are calling as an objects, and the data we are storing in the folders that we are calling as a bucket. The folder is nothing but a bucket, and the data we are calling as an object. So that's why we are calling that data files are stored as objects in a bucket that we create. So what's the maximum size for the data that has to be stored? 5 TB is the maximum file size of a single object. 5 TB is the maximum file size of a single object. You can try to upload that single document. And all objects have a REST accessible globally unique URL namespace. All objects have a REST accessible globally unique URL namespace. And whenever you try to upload or create any object, it will try to create, okay, it will try to show you a key ID, version ID, value, metadata, and relevant sub resources to that particular object here. Okay. So Amazon S3 is a pioneer in cloud storage and has uncountable benefits. To look at its 5 most prominent ones, the main benefit is nothing but reliable security. So it provides us security features. That means we do have a different access policies and permissions that we can try to configure within the S3 here. So that means you can try to define who will be able to access this data inside objects inside a storage. Everything you will try to define that. Okay. So you can try to have a fine-grained permission setup, and you can try to block the access. You can try to define the expiration for the data, that how much time it has to be active. So all such kind of a access controls that is possible within this Amazon S3. In terms of availability, all-time availability, you can try to have an access to this data, and as per AWS, it is trying to provide you 99.9% of availability and durability as well. In terms of cost, S3 provides a different cost options. Okay, based on the type of data you upload in the cloud. In that way, it provides different storage types that offers different performances and features at different cost structures. Okay, so in that way, based on the type of data, based on the duration where you want to keep the data inside the cloud, in that basis, the cost will be depending on. Ease of migration. So you can try to have a data replicated across different accounts, different regions, and over the internet as well. You can try to transfer the data. Okay. And the simplicity of management, that means this console provides a UI where you can try to easily have an administration of the data and the permissions that you try to create. Okay. So basically S3 service acts as both option for scaling small and large storage applications. It helps in storing the retrieving the data intensive applications as per the needs in ideal time. Why S3 become popular? Because it's of backup and recovery features. Many companies or different sectors or organizations are using this Amazon S3 to back up their critical data and maintain the data durability to avoid the losses and availability for quick recovery needs because of these backup features. Okay. So I'll just try to show you how the console looks like. So this is a console for S3. Let's see. You see, this is a console, how it looks like. And here you will see an options for the interface for buckets. This is the left side screen where it is trying to show you the buckets. So the bucket is a concept where it's acting as a folder to store the data like an objects inside these folders. This is nothing but a folder Inside these folders, we are trying to store the objects. This is nothing but a data. These are nothing but an objects. Okay. So I have a bucket right here, for example, XLR43. Here, I can try to upload the data from your local systems or in any from any kind of a source. All right. If I want to create a brand new bucket, I can just try to create that. Click on create bucket. So I'm creating as a name as demo bucket. Okay. I'm giving this name. So I'm enabling this public access. So this option is nothing but blocking the internet access to that particular data. If you block this, no one will be able to access the data inside this bucket over the internet. So I'm unchecking that so that I just want to test it over the internet. I'm clicking on create bucket, for example. So it is not taking. It seems that this bucket name should be unique. People who have already used this bucket name, I cannot use that. So that's why it is trying to create me error. Let me have small d. Create. So the bucket being created here. You see the demo bucket 0987. It has been created in the region which I'm trying to launch the S3 service, that US Oregon. And the date has been mentioned here. Okay. If I try to open the bucket once, I'll click on upload, add files. For example, I'm trying to add a file from my local system. Okay. Let's see how it works. So I'm uploading one image, clicking on upload. Let's see. So I'm opening the bucket. So you can see inside this folder, bucket folder, I do have an object. So what kind of a details that this object have? Let's try to locate it. You can see this is an image file, right? What all the details, who has uploaded this data, and the region details, the modification, the size, the type, and the key value for the naming convention, and is trying to generate the S3 URI. That means resource name, S3 slash bucket name slash the object name here. And Amazon resource name for identification purpose. It has an entity tag and the object URL. So this object URL, which will try to be help us in accessing the data over the public internet. And I'm trying to click on open in the internet. You can see. Let's see what it is trying to show. It is trying to show me the access denied. So that means this object has been not given access over the internet here. Okay. Let's try to see what are that permission that has been missed out. So if you see here, even the object having a permissions that I can try to set it up, and also the bucket is also having an option for permissions to set up. So I can try to control the access to the data in the form of configuring the permissions from bucket level and configuring the permissions from object level as well. There are two ways. Okay. So I'll just try to open this object again. I'll go to the permissions tab. Let me see if the permission has been given. You can see the permissions are controlled inside the object level with the help of ACLs, access control list. ACLs are nothing but controlling the permissions per object. The relevant permissions will be set up over here. If you see, the permissions are currently set for the person who upload the object. He has a permission for read and read write. And the public access has been, nothing has been given. So I'll go to edit. I'll click on public access. I'll click on read. That means the users who want to access this data, they will have a read permission to this. I'll click on save. Let's see if that permissions get modified now. Now I'll go to the object again. I'll copy the URL and let's see if this permission that has to given. So you can see my the object data that has been showing up over the internet. That means I've given access to this object and modify the permissions to have an access over the internet. Okay. Even you guys can try. You should have an access to my data, which I'm trying to have it configured here. Okay. So in this way, not only the files, but I can try to have an upload for different data inside this bucket here. Okay. I can try to create and have the data moved from in front to one location to another location as well. Let's see a few other aspects. How to secure the data for the data inside the Amazon S3 buckets and controlling the data in objects. Newly created S3 buckets and objects are private and protected by default. They are private and protected by default. So by default, there are no permissions for bucket, right? When on which use cases you must share the data, and you need to think during what situations or for the what need the project requirements. You need to manage and control the data access. You cannot give access to directly to everyone across the internet as well, and you need to restrict the access to specific individuals. That you need to add the users there, and we need to always follow the principle of least privilege. You need to always follow the principle of least privilege. That means always try to give a less permissions or minimal permissions, not full permission, like a read permissions. In that way, the unrestricted access or the unknown access can be blocked. Try to provide the access to specific users whom you would like to give, not for everyone. And there are different tools and options for controlling the access to Amazon S3 data. So block public access feature. So this block public access feature, it will try to block the access over the internet for the objects that has been created and uploaded. It is enabled on new buckets by default, and it will be always blocked. You need to uncheck that. Then only you'll be able to access. We have an IAM policies concept where you can try to create different users authentication that can be set up. You can try to define bucket policies, ACLs that will try to have a control mechanism from object level. You also have a predefined, reassigned, URL. So that means you can try to set the availability of the data for particular set time, particular time. So for example, if I try to open this, I'll click on the object. if I've already provided the link, right, where you can try to see the data which has been stored here. So if I try to give, into the particular time of period, this data has to be visible. Then I can try to have an option that can be set up here, share with a pre-signed URL. So what is a pre-signed URL? For how many minutes this URL date has to be active? The data inside this URL has to be active. For how much time? That means how many hours you can try to put out and trying to define here. So for example, if I try to click on here, 6 hours. So for the 6 hours, the URL will be active. And after that, others cannot be able to access the data because we are trying to configure the setting with particular duration only, either minutes or hours, that you can try to set it as. These are the block permission setting access. You can see this option over here where I'm trying to see in the bucket properties. You have an option for permissions. This is a block public access. When you see there are 4 different aspects. So that is being defined here. That means blocking the public ACLs, ignoring the public ACLs, block public policy like internet access, restrict the public buckets. Okay. So if you check any of these options, based on that, the required, responsibility will be taken. Okay. So there are 3 general approaches to configure the access. So we have to configure the appropriate security settings for use case on the buckets and objects. By default, the Amazon S3 blocks the public access because the data will be completely in private environment only. Until you try to give an access over the public internet, the data cannot be accessed. And the other thing being public access, Amazon S3 security settings, where you're trying to make the buckets, the data inside the buckets active like a public, so that others can over the internet, they will be able to see the data inside that. If there are multiple users, then you can try to give the access to the user A, who will be able to access, and the user B only the read access. That means user A, I can try to give a modify permission access. User B, I can try to give a read access. Even this kind of a access level can be controlled within the S3 bucket. So we have an encryption concept within the cloud. Let's see what it is. In general, what is an encryption? Anyone had an idea? Can anyone tell me what is encryption in the chat? What is encryption? Encryption is kind of an option, feature where it will try to mask the original data. It will try to hide the original data, and so that no one can be able to access it until you provide the permission or giving and have an access to the key, or you should have a key to see the data. Okay, to decrypt. So encryption is a security mechanism which will be helpful in terms of having the viewership of data to anyone, third party person. Okay, so it is definitely mandatory to maintain the security and encryption options or the methods to safeguard the data, that everyone has to remember. All right, so what kind of encryptions we have? Let's see. Encrypting options in Amazon S3. encryption encodes the data within a secret key. That means the data will be already encrypted and you should be able to decrypt it with the help of a secret key which is being provided by Amazon. Here, the encryption encodes the data with a secret key. That means when the data being encrypted, it will be unlocked when you are trying to have an access to it with the secret key, because the admin is trying to encrypt the data and configure the secret key. So which makes it unreadable so that no one will be able to unreadable. So only users having the security key can decode the data. Only users having the security key can decode the data. Optionally, we can use an AWS key management service to manage the secret keys. That means you can try to create a number of keys assigned to each table or each data, the folder that has been created. Okay. So there are two types: server-side encryption and client-side encryption. Server-side encryption, it's a concept of enabling the encryption process from console to the server level. Okay. So Amazon S3 encrypts the objects before it saves the data to the computer. Okay. And it decrypts the objects when you download them. And when it looks for the client-side encryption, it encrypts the data on the client side and upload the encrypted data to Amazon S3. So that means client-side encryption is what? At the customer side, he need to encrypt the data. When the data is coming from him, it will be encrypted. And uh, Is that clear? All right. Let's try to see another lab session for S3. So we can try to use S3 to host static content by using different sort of HTML files, images, and client-side scripts that we can try to place inside the S3 bucket storage. For that, for example, what is the difference between static and dynamic website? Anyone can guess the chat? Anyone? What does the static and dynamic website mean? What is static and dynamic website content? I'm opening the console for static website content. I just have some zip file in my system. It's on S3. So I'm opening the bucket. I'll just try to delete the content quick here. I'm deleting the data inside this. So for example, I want to upload the data like a static content. So some people have answered a website that displays the same content to all the users regarding server location. Yes. So in dynamic websites, there will be a redirection and the change. The content change will happen, like in hyperlinks and next clicks will happen. Static content means the website that hosts us, same information again and again. Whenever you access, the same data will be there. There won't be any database or any hyperlinks or any redirection to other source or the destination. Okay. Static means you can try to take a reference for web blogs, articles, such kind of a data or the websites we are calling as a static content. Okay. With the fixed content, we can say static. So for example, I am trying to upload a static content website deployment here. Let's see how it's working on. I am directly uploading a folder, for example, add folder. So I'm uploading a folder which contains all the data which is hosting a static website. Okay, like HTML, TXTs, and JPG images, whatever the format data that is required. I'm clicking on upload. Let's see. So it's getting uploaded now. So what I'm seeing here, the data has been successfully uploaded, right? The static content file. Now I'll go to the bucket. So this is the folder where it had all the content that is required for deployment of a static website. Now I'll go to the bucket. Under the properties, there is an option called static website hosting. Okay. I'll click on edit. I'll click on enable. So hosting a static website, I can try to mention the information about document where the welcome page HTML file that has to be deployed here. So it is asking me to enter the details. So I'm typing index.html. It's a welcome page, like I specify the home or default page for the website. So I have a index.html inside the folder. So I'm trying to upload that. If there's an error file, then I can try to mention, or else I can try to ignore. I'm clicking on save changes. So it's done. Now you can see it is trying to generate a common URL. So that is should be accessible over the internet. I'm copying this and let me try to paste here the website. The access got denied. Now I'll go back to the bucket. So as the data is inside the folder, maybe it is not taking. I'll have to mention the folder name. I'll just copy. I'll just mention a slash. Still access denied. So I believe it might not have the public access over the internet, right? So I'll just check this option. I'll make all the data inside this particular folder to have a public access. I'll give that to with the help of make public using ACL. So I'm just trying to click on make public. So it is trying to edit the public access for all the objects that has been uploaded inside the folders. Let's see. So the data has been given public access from here. Now, when I'm trying to refresh, let's see. So you can see the static website has been deployed, which is trying to host it from the S3 bucket. So you can see here, when I'm trying to open this website, it does have all the HTML files relevant to that. For example, about.html. When I'm trying to click on about, so it is having this HTML file, which is having the details of this website like an about. It is redirecting to this file. Okay. When I'm trying to click on service, the request is going to service.html. When I'm trying to click on contact, you can see the request, the contact is going from this website from the contact.html. So in this way, the static content being hosted through the S3 bucket here. It's a static website. That means it doesn't have any database or redirections or anything. Okay. I'll give you the same website. You can also have a try. Everyone just confirm if you are able to access from your system. So I've given the public access, so you should get an access. Just let me know if you're able to access the website. Yep, you should get an access. Others, anyone? You people are able to click that light, seeing the website, deployment for the pet. So I'm getting response in the chat. Yes. So in this way, I can try to use this S3 as a hosting of static websites as well. Okay. Any doubts still here? Any doubts? Any doubts? Okay. So there are different types of storage classes. As I've told, S3 is trying to offer different cost perspective pricing level here. That means whenever I'm trying to upload the object, so how the price will be varied here? For example, I'll click on upload when I'm trying to add a file. Okay. So it is trying to show me under which storage class you would like to upload the data. So what are the storage class? Storage class are nothing but it is trying to ensure the performance and the durability and the cost based on the type of data you upload and how much time the data has to be uploaded, and it has to be in reliable. Based on that, the storage classes has been designed. You can see the different data like a standard storage class. If you try to select this and upload the data inside this bucket, so this kind of a storage class will be useful and suitable for frequently accessed data that needs to be highly available and durable. And the standard frequent access, you can see this is intelligent tiering. So this is something, the service classification, it will try to classify our files, whatever the data you upload, right, automatically into frequently accessed or infrequently accessed. That means if you want to frequently access the data, then you will select this, the price will be more, and this data will be available across more than 3 availability zones. And if you're not sure if it is frequent or unfrequent, then this intelligent tiering will try to classify. Based on that, the charges will be there. Okay. So the files automatically, when it's get uploaded, if you want to frequently access and infrequently access and stores the infrequently accessed data in the storage, it will try to save the cost. So this kind of a storage class will be useful for unpredictable data access to an S3 bucket. And one zone infrequent access, it is something all the files on your S3 have their copies stored in minimum of 3 availability zones, and one zone infrequent access stores the data in a single availability zone. So this kind of a storage class, it is recommended to use the storage class for infrequently accessed or non-essential data. So in this way, the cost will be reduced when you try to use such class, and there may be a per GB cost for data retrieval. Okay. And the Glacier instant retrieval. What is Glacier? Glacier means whatever the data you upload, it will be archived. It will be archived and storing the data inside the cloud environment. So when this kind of a storage class will be useful, when there is a company, they had a previous, very old data, like a past data, like 2 years data, 3 years data back, like a finance data, hospital data, or patients data, right? And they want to store the data, but they don't want to frequently access. They don't want to frequently access, but they just want to use the storage inside the cloud. And it doesn't require to access very frequently, and it can be accessed quarterly in a year. And if you want to faster access with accessing the quarterly in a year, so such kind of a data you want to upload, then Glacier instant retrieval storage class can be useful. There is one more called Glacier Flexible Retrieval. It is useful for like a long live archival data accessed only once in a year with a retrieval of minutes to hours. Okay, you can try to use this Glacier Retrieval. So Glacier Deep Archive means long live archival data which is accessed less than once in a year. That means we are not even sure if you are accessing the data in S3 bucket once in a year, maybe, correct? With a retrieval of hours. So such kind of a requirement, we can try to use the Glacier Deep Archive, which is trying to save more cost. So if you see, if you want to frequently access the data, the charges will be more. If you are trying to access the data, less than a year or, more than in a year, then the price will be less. And because it is trying to compress the data in archival storage form. In this way, the cost is going to be really helpful. Okay, different costing options will be varied. When you try to use a redundancy data storage, all other S3 classes ensure the durability of 99.99119% of durability, so that the data will be always accurate. It will be available at definitely, because AWS is trying to guarantee that. So this reduced redundancy storage, it ensures the durability. So but it will try to recommend only for 99.99%. That means less, just 0.99% compared to other storage classes. So this kind of a storage class can be useful to store the non-essential data. So these are the various options that you'll get to see. Okay, so simply when you try to upload any file or data, just do that, click on upload, and based on your requirement, what kind of a data you're uploading and how many times, how many days, and how you want to access the data, when you want to retrieve the data, based on that, select this storage class, and then you can try to save the cost and trying to pay the amount to this S3 service to the cloud vendor. Okay, this is the concept of storage classes. Any doubt on this? Any doubts? Okay. There is a concept of versioning within this S3 as well. So versioning in Amazon S3, it's a concept of means of keeping multiple variants of objects in a bucket. Multiple variants means kind of a backup replicas in the same bucket. Multiple variants means, it's a different versions of each file, each object, I can say. You can use the S3 versioning feature to preserve, retrieve, and restore every version of every object stored in your buckets. In terms of backup as well, it is going to be definitely beneficial. With versioning, you can recover more easily from both unintended user actions and application failures. So in terms of backup as well, it is going to be definitely beneficial. Let's see how it is going to work out. So I'm just trying to click on cancel. So the versioning concept will be applied directly on the bucket level. Let me see. I'll delete this first. Usually keeping the data and how much time you keep the data, based on that the pricing will be varied, and also which storage class you try to use it. On that basis the pricing will be depending on. Okay, so you need to ensure if you are trying to practice for the lab sessions under the free tier account, try to delete the data. If it is a high level data, like more space is occupying, just better to delete it once you're done with the lab. So for example, I'm using this bucket itself. Let's try to enable the versioning. So the versioning concept will be applied on the bucket level. Let's see. So I'll go to the properties. Here there is an option called bucket versioning. What it is, bucket versioning is a means of keeping multiple variants of an object in the same bucket. You can use the versioning to preserve, retrieve and restore every version of object in the Amazon S3 bucket, right? So click on edit. I'm clicking on enable. Let's see how it is going to work out. So if I'm trying to enable the versioning on this bucket, all the data or the objects, whatever which are getting uploaded in this bucket, the versioning will be applied. The versioning concept will be applicable. So let me try to see if I have a file. For a testing purpose, what I'll do, I'll try to upload a single file. So I'm trying to create a sample file, okay? Like a text file. Here, what I've done, I'm trying to enter the data as my first data upload. So it can be a code or any important data file, any kind of a data file that I'm trying to upload. Like there is a change. I have some data inside this file. This is the test upload.txt. Okay, I'm clicking on save. And let me try to upload here. Let's see what happens. This is the file. I'm dropping the data here. Okay, I'm clicking on upload. So it's getting uploaded. It's done. Next, so once I try to see the data inside this file, I can click on use this option called open. You can see this, the data being retrieved from this demo bucket, and this is the object name, correct? Now, and the user or the developer who is trying to work, or the person who is trying to upload the data, they had some additional modification in the same file. Okay, so the next day when they want to have additional modification in the same file, for example, they have additional information in the same file. I'm trying to type it as my second data upload. I'll click on save. So once I'm trying to re-upload that file, for example, what actually happens? Let's see. There is already a file with the same name. Now I'm trying to upload a new file, right? So what actually happens? It will try to replace the original file and trying to accept the new version of the file which I'm trying to create and upload here. I'll click on upload. Okay, let me go and see. See, I see only one file because it has been replaced. When I'm trying to click on open, I see the new data file has been uploaded. So that means the old data which is already having information that has been gone. Usually that is a problem. So even when I want to try it again, I can try one more time. Again, I have a modification maybe in next month in the code or something. Click on save. Then I try to re-upload the same name file with the additional data inside. And let's see what happened. Upload. I click on upload again. So this is the latest file that has been uploaded, and it should have the information about the new data. That means the before 2 times, whatever the data which I have uploaded, like a 2 file set, those has been replaced and the new data is only reflecting. So here, what should be, the process for my old data? The very first 2 times which I've uploaded, right? So that data being overridden and the new file being replaced with the old data. So this is going to be a problem for me, right? So what actually I'm trying to do here, with the help of versioning, such kind of a problems can be avoided to keep multiple variants. Okay. So if I try to open this object, so with this object name, whenever I'm trying to do a modifications, whenever I'm trying to have a re-upload of the data inside this S3, it has to keep the backup. So here you see there is a versions. It is trying to keep the multiple variants of the same object, the data which has been modified. It will try to keep the same variants again and again, right? If I try to show this, so this is the current version and this is a older version. When I'm trying to open that, it will try to keep the older version. You can see when I'm trying to click on open, it has been keeping the first time variant version which I've uploaded for the very first time, and it will keep the second time upload data which has been uploaded for the second time, and the latest version should be the current version which is having the 3 lines. You can see this is the current version. So in this way, if you have a data modification into the same data file 100 times, it will try to create 100 versions of variants of the same file. Okay, it will try to have a backup in this way, and also I can try to download the data which you have uploaded on the particular dates. It will try to show you the date when this got uploaded. For example, I click on this option, I click on download. It will try to download the text file. You see this? It will have the data. So in this way, the versioning concept will be helpful in terms of keeping the multiple variants of a single object if there is any modification in the data. We'll try to keep multiple variants here. This is another option in terms of backup purpose. Okay. Any doubts? Are we able to understand what has been done here? If people are able to understand this, what actually happened? So as per the definition, if you see with the versioning, you can recover more easily from both unintended user actions and application failures. There could be a chances, right, where by mistake the objects inside the folders, it could be deleted. There are chances by mistake. Either it could be like human errors or unintended, user actions or applications problems, application issues, application failure. So during that situations, how it is going to be help out? For example, I'm trying to delete these versions. Okay, just a moment. Yeah. Directly I'll delete this file itself completely. For example, by mistake it has been happened. The data file has been deleted. Click on delete. Okay. So the file has been deleted. There is no way to recover the data or the versions that has been created, right? This is also a main problem. Now, during these situations, this versioning will be trying to help keep the backup of versions. How it's possible? You can see even there is no object inside this bucket. I can try to still have a versions that has been backed up. You can see, click on show versions. If I try to have this checkbox, the old data which is in place, it is, the variants are still existing. You can see this. I can still have the data which is there. Even the object got deleted by mistake. I can still try to retrieve the old data which is in place. Okay. So this is how the versioning will be trying to help out to retrieve the and backup purpose as well. So once you try to delete everything, now your data will be completely gone. I'm trying to delete manually now because I don't need this. So if I try to click on this, permanently delete, right click, copy and paste. So now it will try to, whenever you delete any data, right? Any file, it will keep asking you the permissions. You want to delete, yes or no? Can you click on the checkbox acknowledge, permanently delete? This will try to continuously ask just for, because the data is always the primary concern to anyone. Any doubts? Nothing. So if I have a server which is actually having the data inside the server, for example, okay. So what actually happens if I want to move the data from, Windows server? For example, I have a Windows server. I have a data inside the server. If I want to move the data inside this S3 bucket from server, so it has to be done in automatic process. So for that, we can use the command line interface to automate the process. That means the data can be automatically moved from EC2 server to S3 bucket, or else you can try to have a configuration to move the data from S3 bucket to the server as well. Let's see how it can be done, because every time we are trying to manually delete the data, copy the data and everything, we are trying to do it, right? So we can try to automate the process as well with the help of a script. Okay. So for example, I'll try to launch one server quick. Let's try to take a Windows server for practicing purpose. S3. I'm trying to click on this. For example, I'm launching a Windows server. Selecting the key pair. I'm setting up the permissions and the network. I'm launching a server. Okay, let's see. Instances. So let me see if I can connect. It's getting initialized. Let's give it for a quick time. Let it get the status 6 get passed. So it should be passed out now. I'll just refresh to see. So the status 6 has been passed. Let me try to connect the server. Will it have the password correct? I'm connecting the server. I'm giving the username administrator and the password. So the server has been launched. I'll just try to see if I can install the CLI tool here. So there's a command line interface tool which will try to integrate the services and operate the services with the help of commands. Okay, it's getting loaded. So the tool is nothing but AWS CLI. So this CLI tool, it's nothing but a command line interface. Okay, it's a unified tool to manage AWS services, which will help us to configure and control multiple AWS services with the help of command lines and arguments. So that which will try to automate them through scripts. So I'm trying to do a sample script configuration with S3. Okay. Yeah. So I have just copied the setup file. Let me try to install. I'll click on next. Next, install. It's a command line interface. I'm just trying to install, okay? In the meanwhile, on the desktop, I'll try to create a sample folder. For example, test folder, okay? And I'll try to place some data here. I just want to keep some data from my local system to this folder. So that I want to automate the process of moving the data from server to S3 bucket. So data is there and this has been finished. Okay. So I'll open the command prompt. Yeah, it got opened. So let me try to see configure. I'll navigate to the location where this CLI has been installed. So I'm into this folder. So what my expectation is, I want to move the data from this server to the bucket which has been located into the cloud. Okay, so this is a bucket. This bucket is empty now. I want to upload the data directly from server to here through script, right? So what I'll do, I'll just try to have some configuration. Should be AWS S3 space CP copy. So which data I'm trying to move out here? I want to move the data from here, right? So I'll just copy this location, paste. And I'm putting the S3 location. I'll copy the bucket name, copy. I'll just put here the demo bucket slash hyphen recursive ACL public read access. So I'm entering this command. Let's see how it goes. So you can see it is trying to show me that information that the data has to go here. Now I'm coming to the data S3 storage here. Let me refresh. You can see the data from the server has been automatically moved from this particular server to here. Are you understanding? In this way, I can try to automate the process of moving the data from server to here. So for example, if I want to do in reverse way, I just want to delete the data. I want to move the data from S3 bucket to the server. So what I can do, I can modify a command again. I'll just put the S3 location first so that the data will be moved from S3 bucket to the server. Okay. S3 // demo bucket slash. Let's see. Here the data should be coming from the S3 to server. You can see automatically the data is coming up here. In this way, I can try to have this command line arguments to have this data transfer happen from server to S3 bucket and S3 bucket to the server. Okay. I hope everyone is clear with this. I'll just go and try to delete and terminate the server now. Any doubt on this? Any doubts? I'll delete the server as well. Was it fine? You are able to understand what has been done till now? So I'm deleting the server. Any doubts? We are good with this session today. And tomorrow we can come up with new topic. I hope you people have enjoyed. You got a worth out of the session for storage today. Any doubts or queries you can ask, I can clarify. There are many more lab sessions. Okay. So if you see, there are different services. Okay. For example, if you see the data that is trying to come up, it's not only trying to store the data inside the S3, but also there are different various ways to store the data. Okay. So how it is possible? Moving large amounts of a data into Amazon S3. Okay, so that means we can try to have a storage of the data directly through computers or the devices or local PCs, right? Now what if the data is very huge, like very large? At least the data that has to be, it cannot be trying to upload directly through internet speed. So this snowball concept, which will be helpful, which can transfer to multiple terabytes of a data in or out of the Amazon S3. So this kind of a snowball concept where it will be helpful to have use of to transfer petabytes. So it addresses the concerns of large data transfers in terms of benefiting network cost, transfer times, and the security. For example, to transfer 10 petabytes of a data, like 10 million GB over the internet, generally if you want to do it directly over the internet, if you want to upload with a 10 Gbps upload speed, like a maximum speed, it would take 100 days, right? So that's not going to be a feasible options, correct? So that's why this kind of a service which has been given by AWS. So that is nothing but a snowball. What is snowball? Actually, if you have a company or at your home, if you have a so much large data that is more than which you cannot try to upload directly through the internet as well. During that situation, how we can try to use it? We will try to create a job in AWS console, and this snowball device will be shipped to your address, okay, by AWS team. And you can attach to your local LAN network, and then you will try to download a client application in your snowball client application, right? And then whatever the data you want to upload, it will try to select the files, and that files will be uploaded to this device. Once the data has been uploaded here, it will be completely encrypted. Even during the transit, during the transport as well, the data will be completely in the track. It will be completely encrypted. And then it will be sent to the data center of AWS. And then your data will be completely stored inside the S3 bucket. Okay. So that's how this snowball concept will be really helpful. For example, if you see, I'm just trying to type here snowball. Any doubts you can ask in the chats as well. Others? I can clarify. So you can see AWS Snow family process data at the edge and migrate data into and out of the AWS. So it helps the customers that need to run operations in non-data center environments or the physical environments and in locations where there is a lack of consistent network connectivity. So the snowball comprised of different technologies like a snowball, snow cone, snowmobile. It offers number of physical devices and capacity points with built-in compute capabilities. All right. So it is secure because it is trying to maintain the security with a 256-bit encryption process. So to design to ensure so that your data is always secure and in place in transit as well. And flexible data transfer and networking. Snow devices provide options to fit edge computing, data transfer, edge storage you can use. So we can ship the devices with data to AWS. For online data transfer, you can transfer online with data sync as well. It's portable and rugged. Snow devices can be deployed virtually and anywhere you need them. So that means portable in rugged means it is trying to have a, you know, the device is completely in a rugged. That means even it has been fall down, like in terms of pre-fall shocks and operational vibrations, it can trying to handle that, and it can trying to cover that particular physical aspect. So in that way, it is completely portable and rugged as well. Okay. So how it is will be created? Usually, create your large data migration plan for migration greater than 500 TB of a data. Right? Order an AWS Snow family device. I'm clicking on this. So here, the job name, for example, I'm trying to create as demo data transfer. Now, do you want to have the data imported into S3? So you can try to have the data imported. That means whatever the storage bucket you want to upload the data, you can try to have this click on option and then click on next. You can see there are two different options. Like for example, snowball edge storage pricing, that is with having a 210 TB, right? Which is having a 104 core CPU, the resources, the configuration of the compute capacity with 460 GB in memory with a 210 TB of a SSD storage. Okay. And this edge come to my optimized, it is having a 28 TB for a smaller storage. You can try to choose anything. Usually how it can be done. You want to have a pricing for monthly or 1 year upfront pricing. That means within the 1 year, you can try to data transfer and have the storage that can be transferred from your local storage to the cloud as well. Okay, based on monthly or year wise upfront. And then I'm selecting this. So EC2 compatible instances, for example, under which server you would like to have this launched. You can try to have the configuration for Linux server. If you want, you can try to keep this under which bucket you want to have all the data stored. So I've created a bucket, whatever the data I would like to have the stored information that I can try to move from the bucket here. Okay, I can click on next. Next. I'll just next. So here you should have an option to enter all the details for the address where you want to get the snowball device that gets shipped. Your name, city, the country, and the province and everything. And you can try to have a shipment based on the shipping time, you go 1 day shipping or 2 day shippings. So wherever the location you are, try to give a proper address and then your snowball device will get shipped to you. Okay. In this way, the jobs can be created and you can try to have a data transfer happen. All right. So this is a concept of snowball as well within the S3. Any other doubts? We have a time. For the PPTs, you need to reach the admin team. Yeah, this will be a physical data transfer, but the data will be stored in the cloud. For full-time for full course batch, I think you need to reach out to the admin team, guys. Okay. So where is the location is online option available? Someone is having a query. What was that option? How data is secured while data in offline transit? Actually, as I've told, they are trying to have a military grade encryption process with a proper authentication mechanism. No one will be able to hack it until it is get transferred to the data center. So the shipment will be done by AWS team. So we shouldn't be worried about the durability and in terms of data. Location means, see, for example, whatever the location you are, try to select your relevant details and the required region while creating a job. So the AWS team will verify and try to send you to the nearby location. You can clarify if anyone have a doubts. Any other queries? Yeah, for the course details, you need to reach out to the admin team. So they will be able to best help you out. We have a time, guys. You can ask any questions. I will be available to answer over the chat. Any queries, technical or non-technical, I can clarify. For course details, the admin team is better be able to assist. So how to deploy a project in AWS? Which project you mean to say? The project should have a combination of various resources. You need to see what is the project. Yeah, we have a machine learning services within the AWS. So if you get a chance, the account, you can try to see there are machine learning services which is having. There are different types of services that should be, adhere to your project. So you can try to review and see which should be the better service that can try to help you out. Okay. Any other queries? Yes, only deployment can be done here. So like for example, if when you're trying to have a machine learning model in AWS, there are kind of a service called SageMaker, if you have heard about. We can try to have a SageMaker studio notebook service. You can create a real-time interface endpoint, and you can perform invoking the interface endpoints, creating auto scaling, and there are different types, like other options uh, like setting up alarms and trying to have a notifications for the metrics and creating local endpoints using API methods, right? We have options. There is a service called, I think, Amazon SageMaker. You can try to review that. Yes, AWS Amazon SageMaker Studio domain. Any other queries? Yeah. Yeah, cloud deploy service should be part of DevOps. So it won't be covered within this architect program. It is part of DevOps. Yeah, even that is one kind of a service to deploy applications where you can try to integrate with Git, trying to have a source code deployed. Yes. Any other queries, others? I'm responding in the chats and directly in the Zoom as well. You can ask any queries. So the services that we try to review nowadays, since last 3-4 days, in the full-time course batch, we'll try to have a clear cut, like each and every options. We'll try to review and trying to make you lab sessions as well if you have joined. Okay. Any other queries? Yes, those details and the full-time configuration, we can try to do it in the full-time course batch. And the relevant details about the session and the PPTs that you can try to discuss with the admin team. They will help you out. Anyone can ask? Any doubts? You can ask in the chats. I'll be able to help you out and clarifying the chats. Any doubts you can ask regarding the course? So someone is having a question to deliver. How can we deliver the same lecture to our BCS students? Uh, I mean, who will deliver the lecture? Is that the lecturers to BCS students? Yeah, I mean, it depends on the relevant experience that you have and the cloud architect level concepts. What I'm just trying to help review on these 5 days, right? Like compute services, network, and the storage and the security modules. Like there are different modules in a full-time course batch. So to have to teach that, you need a paid free version. So if you try to create a free version account, it's for 12 months free tier account that will be provided, and you can practice and make them do the lab sessions as well. So under the free tier account, there are limitations that you need to work on. Not all the services that is applicable. If you are trying to practice on on top of the free tier account, like which are not applicable, so those charges will be chargeable. So we should be careful on trying to teach students on which services has to be used and which services not used to be used. Any other queries? Yeah. Even if you try to go through online, if you got anyone wants to know the free tier account limitations. AWS free tier account. You see that? And if you click on this free cloud computing services link, it will try to show you all the relevant free tier services which should be available. Where you have a limitations, you can try to know that. Okay. Just trying to ping the link in the chat.
Bala, if you are done, means I'll take up the session.
I'm just trying to respond to the chats. Maybe 5 minutes should be fine. We can end up wrap up. Okay.
Yeah, sure. No
Yeah.
issues.
At 5:15. Anyone else? Any questions? I just posted the free tier account links in the chat. Any queries, guys? Any other queries, guys? Any other queries, questions? So just once you get a complete confidence understanding on AWS services, then try to have a creation of free tier account. No, don't do it right away because you need experience on trying to do that. And there are some services which can be used and which shouldn't be. And if you try to do whatever the practice for whatever the services that you don't know, that is going to charge. You need to pay the bill. Okay, so don't do that until you have a proper experience or guidance. All right. So try to see the recorded session and reach out to admin for any other queries. And tomorrow we'll try to see a other module and we'll get an understanding. Okay. So we can catch up tomorrow then. Thanks everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, Bala. So faculty members, like I'm sharing the attendance link. If you missed out, please mark it. And if you don't have any queries, so you can ask me in the chat box. It's late, like 15 minutes. That's okay. We covered the topic, no? I hope no more questions. So I didn't see any questions. Okay, we'll wind up the session, and tomorrow is the last day for our program. So we'll meet on tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you, Bala.